We just escaped from the whiskey prison tour, and we did not need to use peanut butter. You're listening to the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast, where it's two guys' take on life, liberty, and the pursuit of gravy, and you, the listener, are getting a degree in common sense. We are broadcasting from the HB5 studios right here in beautiful downtown historic Concord, North Carolina. I'll be your host, Biggin, and how about you? We've got a great show lined up for you, as always. We've got How You Be Durin', some wacky news. We're going to talk to Chris Ferdico from WarFighter Tobacco. And without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce you to the second half of this flaky biscuit. That's right, I'm talking about the pride of Anderson, South Carolina. He's 2016's Honorable Mention Father of the Year, the inventor of the redneck egg roll. Give it up on old mic number one. It's Mojo!
I'm trying to think who this is.
Blackstone Cherry, my friend.
Good tune. Good tune.
We can let it roll. Want to let it roll?
Yeah, let it roll. I take it he didn't open up for Sam Hunt. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining us again, as always. You are officially listening to the most popular podcast on the interwebs. That's what I heard.
Yeah, I think in the Netherlands and Tokyo.
I contacted the Russian consulate.
Okay.
Has verified that.
All right.
If not, then he will make us the number one listen to podcast. Thanks for joining us again. You can find us on the interwebs at www.southernfriedphilosophy.com. You can also find us at Twitter and Instagram at SFP Radio, and also on the Facebooks at Southern Fried Philosophy. Go to iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher. Please like our podcast. Also give us a subscribe. You can also give us a review, a positive or negative, whatever.
Either way.
But it helps us move up in the algorithms of the podcast world, and we do appreciate that. We thanks for our new listeners that are joining us from Tokyo, Netherlands, Russia, and also the West Coast. I guess they want to hear some Southern Fried Philosophy.
I guess so.
So we appreciate that.
The top people that listened to the podcast last week are coming out of California and D.C.,
Also, we want to pay respect to our armed forces that are actually listening to the Pacific Coast, the Pacific Armed Force bases. We appreciate you guys tuning in and hopefully hearing something comforting from home here. So in normal land.
Ladies and gentlemen, just bring the heat.
That's right.
That's all I'm telling you.
So we appreciate you guys tuning in every week. So we got a big show, I guess.
We do. Let me go ahead and ask you like I ask you every week. Mojo, how you be darn?
I had a great day until I walked out of the house and forgot I put deodorant on.
Ooh.
Or I didn't put deodorant on, excuse me. So, in the summertime, it's south, humid, hot, and, it's not a smart move to walk out without deodorant.
Sir.
So that's rolling the dice. So
what's your go-to for deodorant?
Just regular Degree.
Degree?
Seems to be the kind, growing up as Old Spice, because what my dad had. So.
Listen, I still use Old Spice, but it's like the new stuff. But what kind do you use though? Is it like the stick or is it the gel?
It's kind of like the it's not the gel, it's a stick, but it's the creamy kind.
Okay, the soft gel.
Soft.
Yep.
No, not, whatever it is. I guess
where it has like the holes at the top.
You know what I do is I get like the Sam's 10 pack. That way I never run out. So I try to do that. But yeah, summertime, in the south.
It's expensive, man.
Yeah,
deodorant's crazy.
Well, it's also expensive not to wear deodorant because. You leave a lasting impression from many people. So I didn't wear my Southern Fried Philosophy shirt, thank goodness, because people are maybe associated the podcast with bad odor. So,
or pit stains.
Or pit stains. One of the
That's
two.
crazy. Well, I had we had a previous guest on the show, Leif. He was on a former podcast, and he came by and stopped by and talked a little bit. And this is after 10 weeks in a row. Well, 10 weeks we've had company coming in. And he gave me this sound advice. He said, if you don't want people to come visit you, the best thing for you to do is when you're showing people around your house, you put a trash can in the bathroom, and you say, now, because it's an old house, you can't flush the toilet. You've got to put all your toilet paper into the wastebasket. And then you point to the baby wipes, and you just look at him and say, I just assume you know what that's for. And then just leave it at that.
By the way, episode 12 is getting to know Leif.
Okay.
Leif is a former, he's actually a Vietnam veteran, former military, and just an interesting cat all the way around. So I got to enjoy getting to know him a little bit, and I'm sure the listeners did too. So
I thought that was great advice from him.
Yeah.
Because if you walk into a toilet bathroom and there's like that sign where it says put all your toilet paper in here, like you kind of just don't want to stay around there.
No. And you don't want to shake hands, and you probably don't want to eat the food that they prepare.
Exactly. So, that would be sage advice to get people out of your house if you don't want them.
What is this, a foreign country? No inside plumbing? I don't quite get this. We
can use the excuse. It's an old house.
Right.
Plumbing's bad. Whatever.
Well, speaking of that, I don't know if you noticed that downtown Concord, here where we're at here in North Carolina, just north of Charlotte, and this is not just the vicious disease of government work here, because it's in every city, every municipality. But we had a water main break on one of the major streets, Church Street here, and it was gushing. It was probably like a good 8-by-6 foot hole, and I mean the roads and stuff were just caving in. Well, I drove by the second time after eating lunch, and there was 15 workers out there all staring in a hole, doing nothing.
Well, if we stare at it long enough, it'll stop.
I didn't know we had 15 people in our plumbing crew in this whole town.
How about it?
That's crazy.
I mean, it's massive, man. Like the kids were taking showers in it or baths in it and things like that. It was massive.
It's probably that pet alligator someone released in 1976.
I finally got through.
I was amazed. 15 people were just sitting there staring. They all had the same matching vest on. So
safety first, kids.
Probably 14 were engineers, and one of them was actually a worker. Yeah. So there you go for your tax dollars.
There you go. One of the things that I will say that happened this week is concerts. We asked on the Facebook question of the week, what's your favorite concert? There were some good responses. Some of them are like, probably not the best concert I could have thought about going to. But how are you on concerts? Do you like them? Do you not like them?
I'm not a big fan of the big pavilion type or the amphitheater or even the back home we had a basketball hockey stadium that they would put in. I'm not a big fan of those. I like the small intimate venues where it hold maybe 600 people, 700 people. Yeah, maybe 1,000. That's it. Yeah. So. The thing for me, and my wife loves them. She is dialed into them like none other. She could just go on concerts and just be a hippie. I think she probably would. but like she loves going to concerts, and she took me to Sam Hunt, and I know that kind of made you upset. Well, it made me upset. I just cried for you. Yeah. Because especially the topic of demasculation. Yeah. And then you go to a Sam Hunt concert.
Yeah, I do kind of like it.
And that's how it begins. That's how she's taking you over right now.
That's probably one of the stages. But so we went to the Sam Hunt concert. The thing about concerts, though, is for me, it's like a handle getting in, right? And then you've got to walk, generally a pretty good distance to get there. Then you kind of sit there for a while, and then you hear the concert, which you could have just heard on the CD, like, okay, whatever. Sure. And then you have to leave, and you get stuck in that leaving concert traffic, which the concert was over at 10. We probably got home at like 12:30. We did manage to stop by Waffle House, but that's besides the point. But, I mean, there's the traffic to get out. We're just sitting there for like an hour and a half, just like, what are we doing? Come on, let's move.
And they seem to put these stadiums now, or amphitheaters, or whatever, venues in not a very well-constructed transportation district. No, so sir. That's how it is here in Charlotte, same way. So.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know, Sam Hunt is kind of like a country / not even hip-hop, but just kind of country-ish, pop-ish.
He's from this country.
From Georgia. He is from Georgia. But some of the things that astounded me that I want to bring up are, hey, moms, I'm going to need you to put some clothes on. I mean, there were a lot of moms that should not be wearing the things they should be wearing, what they were wearing.
I'm thinking I should maybe go to the Sam Hunt concert now.
Well, there were some big mama what's that were wearing stuff that you're like, I don't think that's appropriate for anybody at any stage of the venue. Right. And then there were the moms that were letting it loose that were okay, but Mom, I need you to turn it down a bit. Right. I mean, they were dialed up. They've been drinking all day. Right. Popping a few bottles. But
they probably get no break from their kids, I'm sure. Or if they have a full-time career mom,
right,
then they probably get no break from their career as soon as they come home to chaos. So, they let loose one night. So.
And I'll say this, Grandma
getting down too.
Grandma, Big Mama, what? Hey.
Yeah, and that's the thing about these younger musicians with their tight jeans and their loud music and stuff that doesn't even fit in the genre they sing. But man, they're attracted and just
women that are wearing clothes that should not be fitting. It should not. You should not.
Oh man, we're gonna start. Is this gonna become a gospel podcast? No, I know what you're saying. Though.
I mean, hey men, come on now.
Hey, but that's the thing. None of the men wanted to go. You were the sucker. Nah, but so Sam Hunt. So, how was the concert?
Concert was okay. The other thing that, can I just tell you, this absolutely shocked me. I don't know if it's the HB2 thing or whatever, but the line for the women's bathroom was pretty long, right? So I'm walking up, and no line for the guys' bathroom. But when I get there, I'm seeing women pouring out of the men's bathroom. And I'm like, wait, what? I was shocked. I was like, am I going in the wrong one? So I froze a little bit. But then I see guys coming out and then more girls coming out. And so I walked in, and there were maybe 5 or 6 women just in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Saying, well, the other one was full. And one mama, Big Mama, what? She was coming through saying, I'm a mom. It's okay. Like, that makes it okay? It's okay, guys. It's not like I haven't seen these things before.
I've seen the wedding tackle twice.
And then so I leave, and then I have an adult beverage, and that makes me just have to go like crazy. So then I go back, and this line is now, for the men's bathroom, is 4 times as long, and now men and women are in the line. And so, I mean, dude, I'm not kidding. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever, like, the bathroom, it was filled up to the top, to the brim of just puke and stuff. So and these ladies are trying to pee in that, and I'm like, good luck to you.
Yeah.
I mean, it was gross. I mean, absolutely gross.
Wow.
And I don't know how these girls are just like, all right, I'm just going to go in there. It drove me nuts.
Yeah, that's the downside when you get that many people. How many people are probably there? 5,000, 10,000? I mean, I don't even know.
Probably.
I mean, I know PNC Pavilion's a pretty large thing.
Yeah,
so.
and there's 2 bathrooms, and then they brought in a ton of porta potties.
Right.
And that line was long. Like, how long are you guys peeing for?
Right.
Like, what is the deal with that?
That's how the venues make their money.
For bathrooms?
No, for the beverages.
And then the encore. Like, can I ask this question? Why do we always do an encore? Like, we know that it's coming. They get done, they leave, and then they come back. Like, just play and then just be done.
I think it's an ego thing. You know what I'm saying? They got to fuel their pride and ego a little bit. So they that, or maybe they gives the average Joe who's buying the ticket, maybe thinks they're getting more value for their money.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm not a fan of concerts. I'm going just because my wife likes to go, and I like to make my wife happy.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad concert. So anyway,
I think my wife and I have only been to really maybe 3 concerts in our whole marriage, which is okay because she's not a big fan of the music I listen to, and I'm not a big fan of the music she listens to, so that's okay. I mean, we get along that way, but we go to different types of genres. So.
So I go wherever my wife takes me.
Wherever she tells you. So the podcast question of the week was, what was the best concert you've ever been to? We had several people mention Korn, which is a 90s band a lot. Yeah. And I mean, they're still around, and I think they just opened up a new tour. Also, buddy of mine who's a physician out in my hometown, he's I think he just tours around with looking at concerts too, but he's actually, the Black Sabbath's last concert was probably his best. Several people for Metallica. One lady said Elvis. She saw Elvis. Yeah, saw Elvis back in like 75, I think is what she said. Wow. And so that's a classic. Yeah, blast from the past. Garth Brooks got a couple hits. Of course, the band I listen to, Social Distortion, doesn't have a lot of fan base on the East Coast, but that's okay, though. And also another childhood, not childhood, but early teens, Hootie and the Blowfish.
How about it?
I've actually seen them before they got big.
I like Hootie and the Blowfish. I'm a big fan.
I like them because they're good South Carolina boys where I'm from, and they're very invested in their city. Yeah. And they give back and give back. So, and surpriser was Jeremy, who also he co-hosts and co-chairs some of our podcasts. Mm-hmm. He actually said Miley Cyrus. So, Jeremy, I think we may have to officially ban you from podcasting the show.
You are no longer allowed on with Miley. Come on, buddy.
Yeah, that was kind of a shocker. But he also likes to say he posts things on Jason Mraz. So yeah, Jeremy, after seeing Jeremy post some things like Jason Derulo and a couple other guys that I barely have heard of. Miley Cyrus. So I wonder if it was when during the tongue sticking out stage or the reformed girl.
I don't know, but I heard. Speaking of, I heard Justin Bieber is now starting a church. That should be interesting.
Yeah, that's a rumor. And also my wife, her and her friend, they went to see Maroon 5, and of course all the women like those guys. I guess the lead singer, whatever his name is,
Adam Levine.
Yeah, taking his shirt off. So I've got to hear about that 100 times. So, which I don't know how people listen to Maroon 5 either.
Yeah.
You can send all your hate mail to me if you'd like. So that's cool.
At Mojo at Southern Fried.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah, that's crazy. I think for me, I liked Garth Brooks. I went to that concert and enjoyed that when I was a youth. But still holding out for Will Smith.
Yeah, I like small venues, and a couple small venues I like. We actually saw Aaron Lewis solo. It was just him and his guitar and a guy who plays a dobro, which is kind of like a steel guitar. And he did basically everything from his country album, and then just did a lot of covers. People were just shouting out like, "Hey, what do you want to play?" And people will set Purple Rain. He'd play Purple Rain by Prince.
Wow.
So that was probably one of the best concerts I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Social Distortion, I've seen them 3 or 4 times. Punk band from Orange County, California. But country, Jamie Johnson, who has written a lot of top 40 country hits.
Yeah.
He doesn't do the pop country, but for himself. But one of the best concerts I've been to was with him. I mean, so yeah.
We can also say our favorite concert was Shelley Coley this past week. So
yeah, there you go.
Good job
for intimate venues.
Right. Yeah. All right. So we were able to have Tim. He came on the show with us last week. Last week we had Tim on the show with us. He is the winner of the 1-year anniversary prize pack that we had, and we were not able to get his interview in on that one, but we did interview him, so we are going to actually play that for you now, just to hear a little bit about Tim and kind of his background. So here's the interview. All right, so we're back. We've got our special guest with us is Tim. I don't know if you want me to say your last name or not, but
might as well. It's all in the papers.
Tim won our contest for the annual Southern Fried Philosophy 1-year anniversary special. I'm going to change the name of that every time we say that.
We'll get it straight on the 2nd year.
But Tim, you won, and so how are you liking being here and part of the show?
Well, I never win anything.
Ever.
Never win anything except my beautiful bride, Jill. And I also never have any brushes with greatness except with you two gentlemen here today. So that's very special.
That's
we got to have him on more often.
I tell you, that will get you anywhere.
Flattery will
get you everywhere. Tim, so how have you had the barbecue sauce yet?
I have, and it was delicious. We made that a staple a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Thank you.
Very good. Cool. And you're going to be joining us at the Whiskey Prison coming up.
Yep.
So that'll be a fun trip. So Tim, tell us a little bit maybe about yourself. Like, what do you do? Like, what do you like to do?
Well, I'm a lifelong resident here in town, Concord, and in information technology as a trade as far as my occupation, and I've been with my company for about 33 years now. And,
wow. Good
kind
night.
of looking towards retirement at some point, but I do think I may be known in these parts for a lot of cycling that I do. I used to race quite a bit, and I still enjoy that hobby. And as a sideline, I enjoy my bourbon and cigars.
Nice,
well
done.
Everything in moderation.
You probably could beat Lance Armstrong without the blood doping, I'm sure too, right?
Oh, you think you could? If you took on Lance Armstrong now, you think you could beat him?
Oh, he has no chance. Yeah. I'm good.
I bet.
Hey, maybe we should get Shark Week to do that.
Tim against Lance Armstrong.
That would be awesome.
It has nothing to do with sharks.
It can't be a simulated.
I guess he could be a land shark, right?
Yeah, it can't be a simulated thing again.
It'd actually be a real one, right? Oh my gosh! So you've lived in Concord your whole life. Is that accurate?
That's correct. Yeah.
How have you liked it? Like, what's been some of the major or biggest changes that you've seen, or like what are some of the things that you're really looking forward to?
Well, downtown Concord, as we all know, is just growing by leaps and bounds. Got 2 new restaurants here as of this past month. French restaurant and
what is it? Was the Chez Francois?
Chez Francois.
How about it?
I thought it was Les Hardets, not down the street.
Been there and
Target.
They've got we've visited once. It's good, and then the new other spot is Local 25.
Yeah,
big shout out to them. It's a good spot. The food is delicious, and we had a good time.
My wife went there for lunch. She said that the ambiance was fantastic.
She used the word ambiance, and you just did too.
Yeah. Well, I only did it because she did it. So,
what is that word, honey? I don't know.
Yeah, I had to look it up actually.
Some big words.
Yeah. Tim, what? So you did some biking.
Yeah.
And you enjoy that. I have no idea what that's like. You post all the time like you're going out for 40 or 50 miles of a race or
just a ride.
Ride. I can't even fathom like driving 40 miles to Charlotte. Like that annoys me. Like I would feel like I would get chaffed like no other. I mean, how do you avoid the chafe, my friend?
Oh my gosh, I've been doing it for so long. I guess for about 30 years now, and but there's some creams that you can use to, but we won't go any further.
Calluses and cornstarch.
There you go.
Oh wow, I couldn't imagine. And then I remember as a kid, like biker shorts were really cool, like bicyclist shorts. And I remember,
were they cool?
They
really were. They
people would wear them.
Yeah, I remember that
a lot. And
with fanny packs.
And I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I just want a pair of bicycle shorts. And so she dragged me down to the local JCPenney's, and she found some that fit, or that I could put on. And I remember the look on her face, Tim, when I came out of that dressing room thinking I looked sharp. And she said, "Oh, honey, no, please don't do this to yourself."
Well, big and what we can do is hold you down, put lycra shorts on, and shave your legs, and you'll be good to go.
There you go.
That's the closest to actually getting on a bike that I think I've ever been. So, I mean, like, besides just running around the neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, when you're running around the neighborhood, how many miles did you put on your bicycle then? I mean, I don't know. Maybe less than 10 miles a day probably, but still it seemed like a lot as a kid.
Yeah, it was two houses down to my best friend. So I would get on the bike and just ride furiously down 2 houses, and then I was there.
Break out a sweat and you're good.
Yeah. It was like you going to Home Depot, like me just going down the 2 streets. And it was downhill, which was even worse.
Right.
But yeah, so I didn't drive the bike a whole lot. Wasn't a big bike guy. So
well, I always had dreams of when I was a kid watching some of those like cheesy 80 movies where they had the BMX bikes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh, what was that? Rad
was one of
those.
Kid,
yes.
I always dreamed of that. You tell your parents they got to have the pegs on the back.
Right.
And then you get your shoelace caught in it.
Yes.
And that's all she wrote.
And then you were going to be all cool because you had somebody else behind you standing on the pegs.
Yep.
Dude, I tried that once and I fell off. I cut my leg like none other.
Yeah, the bicycles, that was life back then. So.
What got you started into bike riding?
I guess I was ran marathons and back in college and did some pole vaulting and just too many injuries, so I decided to grab a bicycle and
play chicken with cars instead.
Oh, I've played chicken with cars a couple of times and lost big time. So well, try to be a little more careful these days.
So you were pole vaulting?
Yeah, I was a pole vaulter in college.
I don't understand the math and the science of that. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I did it for 8 years and broke 2 poles. Now you talk about sharding. There you go. I mean, there's
how about that?
Yeah, that's a scary moment, and so it sounds
like
sounds like a cannon going off when you break a pole. But yeah, so
no, they don't they call it the box?
They call it the box.
Yeah,
and you put the pole.
What's the diameter?
Oh no.
I mean, out of curiosity,
it's a small box.
y'all killing me here.
So what do you do in the box?
You put the pole as you gain momentum and speed, and you thrust the pole into the box, and then that creates momentum, and then the pole eventually bends, and then once you get the maximum it thrusts you up there, and it's all about gravity, etc.
Sure.
And everything just going where it needs to be.
And there we were banned in 7 countries.
And then that's where we get the E on iTunes. Gotcha. Explicit.
Extra description.
And then once you have finished that, you just lay on the mat and just rest.
And thank God.
And thank the Lord.
Well, if you made the jump and you were successful at obtaining what you wanted to, the height you wanted to obtain, you would jump up in joy and jumping down on the mat and with arms up in the air in great adulation. It was awesome.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
If I can ever pull that off, that's exactly what I do.
Well, just think maybe if we get the wall built on the southern border, you might be able to have a new career in training pole vaulters.
How about it? They'll build boxes all up and down that thing.
That's right.
How about you?
So, what kind of bike do you ride? I'm just curious.
I have 2 bikes. In cycling, there's this theory of N+1 bikes, which equals the amount of bikes you have. Whatever amount of bikes you have 1 extra. Mm-hmm. And so I have a Trek Madone. That's my primary road bike, and then I have an Orbea, and I swap them out occasionally. And there's plenty of cycling pals of mine that have an enormous amount of bikes because they're not cheap, but I keep mine around for a while. And Trek and an Orbea.
How about it?
I had a Trek for a short period of time while I rode, but a close call with death. So
Have you heard of Schwinn? I think that's where I was at when I stopped my career.
Is it Husky a brand?
It is.
Walmart, yeah.
It is, yeah.
A Stingray.
Banana seat.
Yeah, and then I went to the skateboard. I thought I was going to be the next
Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk, yeah. That worked out well.
The skateboard, I couldn't skate and roller skate, so I definitely didn't try the skateboard. So
the other thing was the rollerblades, and I could never get into that either.
Yeah, that was kind of after my childhood upbringing, so I never got into that. But we actually have someone here at the studio who rollerblades quite often, so I guess dry skiing, I guess, is what it looks like. So.
All right. Well, thanks, Tim, for joining us. I really appreciate it. Thanks for
having me on the show.
Yeah, man.
All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to have some wacky news, and we have Chris Ferdico from WarFighter Tobacco. He'll be on the show. You're listening to the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast. Do you know it takes a customer 3 seconds to decide whether to stay or leave your website? That's why a crisp, clean, and user-friendly website is one of the best ways to market and help and grow your business. At Webmerized Web Design, we offer that and much more. They pride themselves in offering their clients professional websites at affordable prices. Are you a small business? No problem. We can cater to small businesses by working with their clients every step of the way to meet their needs and expectations. Their number one goal is to partner with their clients to help and grow their business with a successful website. They work for every client, no matter the size. So, if you'd like a great website, go to webmerized.com, webmerized.com, or you could check out their link on the sponsors link of our website. If you mention the word Biggin, you'll get 10% off your website design order. Again, webmerized.com. Check them out. All right, we are back, and now we are going to bring you some wacky news. All right, so the first one out of the gate is I don't know if you saw this one or not. I don't think you did. A dozen inmates used peanut butter to escape from jail. The last of them have been finally caught. The last of a dozen inmates who used peanut butter to escape from an Alabama jail has been caught. Bradley Kilpatrick was captured Tuesday in Florida after being tracked down. The 24-year-old was the only one of the escapees to make it out of Alabama, the Walker County Sheriff's Office said. On Sunday, so here's the story. On Sunday, a dozen inmates escaped from the Walker County Jail, not by cutting through steel bars or drilling through walls or ripping a toilet from a wall. Instead, the Walker County Sheriff Jim Underwood told reporters that the inmate used peanut butter to make the number on one of the cell doors look like the number on a door leading to the outside of the jail. An inmate then asked an unsuspecting jail guard in the control room to open his cell by saying he needed to get back in. Unknown to the guard, he had inadvertently unlocked the door that opened to the outside. They got some blankets and threw that over the razor wire, and 12 inmates used that to escape. And they were caught probably, I think it was 18 hours later or so, and then they finally caught the last one yesterday. So this was last week.
Peanut butter jelly time.
Peanut butter jelly time.
Wow. Now, when you first started out there, I the visualization I had in my head of this peanut butter.
Not happening.
It was not good.
Right.
And I'm glad we didn't go down that road. But
so I don't quite understand it, but somehow they used the peanut butter to either cover up one of the numbers or make it look like a different number.
I'm sure they probably did a pretty good job of it because you know if it depends.
Right.
Like the peanut butter, if it was black numbering, they probably use the peanut butter and probably use some scrapings of a shoe or something to, burn ash. I mean, they make tattoos out of black ink tattoos out of the burnt ash of a shoe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Huh. That's how they get the color black. I can give you a whole thing on that, but I can see it being a possibility, but was this guard an absolute moron? I mean, is this like his first day at the jail?
It actually kind of was.
Was it?
He was a newbie.
Well, I give him a break. I mean, wow. I feel bad for that guy. He probably lost his job, too.
Could you imagine, like, doing roll count at the end of the night and looking at the new guy and be like, hey, we're missing 12.
I was just eating my ham and cheese sandwich. What happened?
Yeah.
I feel bad for that guy because he probably spent forever going through the security checks and getting approved and firearm safety, and all of a sudden.
Listen, to be honest with you, if that guy lets somebody out because of peanut butter, might be a good idea to go ahead and let him go.
Well, because there's no telling how many tax dollar resources were used finding these guys too. So yeah, it's probably best that he maybe go get a job at Lowe's.
And you know that out of those 12 people, there wasn't a guy from the fraternity Fat Five Fat because he would have eaten the peanut butter
or stopped to find some jelly.
Right. So wait, we're gonna use this peanut butter to break out of jail. I think I'd almost rather eat it.
Yeah. Well, considering they probably eat bologna and cheese quite a bit, that seems to be a jailhouse staple. So.
All right.
Oh man, I think you have my little video thing, or audio portion of this thing, but I'll start it out.
Yep.
Ohio woman with a pet boa constrictor attacking her face tells 911 there's blood everywhere.
911, what is the location of your emergency?
Oh, please.
Hello?
I had a boa constrictor stuck to my face.
Ma'am, you have a what?
Boa constrictor. It's a house. I'm outside with it.
You're outside with a boa constrictor stuck to your face?
Yes.
Okay.
I just rescued it yesterday. Please.
Ma'am, I've notified the ambulance and the fire and the police department. So the boa constrictor has a hold of your nose?
Yes.
Can you pry its jaw open if you pinch
No,
its
I'm
jaw?
trying. There's blood everywhere.
Okay, and his jaw won't open?
No.
Okay, how big of a snake are we talking, ma'am?
She's like 5.5 feet.
5.5 feet?
So that was.
So the story on this Sheffield Lake, Ohio, this lady obviously calls 911 just in case you could catch up on some of it. The boa constrictor has a hold of your nose. The dispatcher asked, "Can you pry the jaw open? Can you pick out the jaw, whatever?" No, I'm trying. There's blood everywhere. The caller says. The Sheffield Lake woman refused to talk about her experience Friday, but gave 911 an earful. I just rescued it yesterday, she says, claiming the boa was one of two she had obtained the day before. All of my snakes are put away. I don't know what that has to do with it. I guess the cops are coming out shooting snakes, I guess. Anyway, how many snakes do you have, ma'am? And then she also tells the 911 operator that she has 9 others.
9 others?
Yeah. Also, neighbors declined to speak. I don't know what's going on there, but they did eventually remove the snake because it was actually constricting around the young lady's neck at the time when they showed up. They actually severed the head with a knife, and they treated the woman with her injuries. But what happened here? And here's my one takeaway from this.
One, you only have one?
Well, I got multiple,
okay.
But here's one, is that she was quick to say...
Yep, here it comes.
Well, I don't know if we're thinking about the same thing.
I think so.
that she rescued it.
Yep.
Why do people who rescue pets have to make that announcement right away?
You saved zero time on that, telling them that it's been rescued, because they don't care.
What's the difference?
It could have.
Yeah, I obviously didn't do too great of a job rescuing, but I love pets. I mean, I have a rescue cat and a rescue dog, so. But I don't brag about it as like my first thing. But I think people that are so ambitious or not passionate about their pets, that's like the first card they throw down.
Well, it wasn't even their pet; they just rescued it from whatever it was. And it's well documented on the show how much I hate snakes and I hate
clowns.
And I hate people that. Well, I don't hate people, but I don't understand people that have pets that kill you. I still don't get that.
Yeah.
But the fact that she rescued it for one day. Way to go, lady.
I mean, what was she doing? Like taking it out, like petting it? I mean,
you know what it was? She wanted to be all sharp and get a picture with a selfie on, like, hey, look at this snake that I just rescued because I want to be cool, I want to be sharp. And then all of a sudden it said, no, I'm done with that. And rescued it from where? How do you know it wasn't happy? Did you go up and be like, oh, come here, Mr. Bo, I want to save you?
Maybe you should try to feed it before you try to pet it after you rescue it.
How about this? Don't. Nope. Just shoot it. Kill it.
I've never seen a Sarah McLachlan commercial singing about snakes and rescuing them and donating $1 or whatever per month to rescue.
You know why? Because people would stop donating because nobody likes those Satan little hand puppet.
Boa constrictor, that size would make a nice belt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 5.5 feet.
Right.
That could go around my waist.
Yeah, get some good meat on that.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you saw the follow-up to that, so...
I haven't.
Let me go ahead and play that for you.
911, what is the location of your
Oh,
emergency?
please.
Hello?
I had a boa constrictor stuck to my face.
Ma'am, you have a what?
Boa constrictor. No.
Okay, how big of a snake are we talking, ma'am?
This thing was 10 foot tall. He had beautiful hair.
You have to break out the blast from the past.
I can't get enough of that guy, by the way.
But still, though, I don't know. Since I read this article, I'm still shaking my head.
Can I also just say this to the men and women that put their lives on the line? We have to spend valuable resources to go to this woman and help her cut off her rescued snake, while there's people that actually need help and need like an ambulance or a fire department or whatever. We take valuable resources from that and divert it to you dumb A's that have got to put a rescued snake around you.
Put yourself in danger with it. It's like,
Yeah. So involuntarily they got hurt, but then this lady puts herself in danger.
Well,
good job.
Obviously, she may have been liking the superpower.
Yeah. So here you go, lady.
The Darwin Award of the week.
So I don't know if you saw old Mr. Chris Christie and him going to the ballpark or not.
It's not been a stellar, probably last 45 days for him.
So I don't know. We'll have this up on the on our website. But Chris Christie has gotten an argument with a gentleman at the ballpark, and he went to go get some nachos, like every good American will. And he got the nachos, and he came back. And while he was getting the nachos, this guy was just like hollering at him, screaming at him. And then I think at one point he said, "You suck. You suck." And then said, "You're a hypocrite." And then Chris Christie comes back, and he said one of his first lines, like, "Hey, buddy, you want another beer?" Then he said, "Did you get enough? Are you done yelling at me now?" And then so there's this clip of the guy, and the guy was trying to again be sharp. He was trying to be cool, trying to be
witty,
like, "Yep." And so here's the audio of that. That's his friend yelling at him.
What did he say to you?
There was a Secret Service right there.
What did he say?
I don't know. You want to act like a big shot?
You want to act like a big shot, is what the guy was saying. So, a couple of things on this one is the picture of Chris Christie holding his nachos.
Yeah, he looked kind of desperate.
The man did not want to let one chip get away.
And also the news failed to mention that was his 12th order of nachos.
Was it really?
I don't know.
But that sucker was piled up like none other.
I'm surprised Chris Christie didn't actually close the stadium down and just let his family watch the baseball game for himself.
That would have been nice for them.
Yeah.
And can we talk about his pants? I mean, is he getting his, like, Fashion advice from the mom police?
You know, Chris Christie's actually a pretty funny cat. I don't know if you've ever seen him on the late nights or Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, I like him.
Saturday Night Live actually did a skit with him about the pants, you know, how far they pull up and stuff. So he's fully aware of it, but he still insists on it.
Like, come on, man. Those look like mom jeans.
I'd rather see him rocking a belly rocker or, you know, over the lap, Dunlap disease or whatever than the old up to his nipples.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he looked kind of like Pat. Remember that old SNL skit? And Matt.
That was great. And that's so fitting for today in our culture.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a side note. Yeah, old Chris Christie. He's not had a stellar 45 days. I think his PR team is probably going to have to do some damage control.
Yeah.
Speaking of nipples,
here we go.
David Irving of the Cowboys, he injures his nipple by getting his nipple ring pulled out during practice. And, of course, he announced it to Twitter and everyone else.
Why? There's question number one. Why?
I don't really know.
I would just left that alone. Put that to the side.
Dallas Cowboys defensive end David Irving tweeted that he lost his nipple ring during the team's training camp. And as a result, injured his nipple.
Don't need to bring that up.
It hurt so bad I just had to let the world know, Irving told reporters after practice on Wednesday. But the nipple didn't completely tear through. It would have been loose and yanked the side out. Thank God it was loose, as David was quoted. I guess I grow some people out, Irving added about the nipple. Pretty funny to see people's reactions. I have no shame. Asked why he got the nipple ring in the first place, Irving responded, "The girls love it.
No,
that's why I got it." But yeah, Twitter's had a little bit of fun with it. This episode of the nipple ring, but yeah, ouch.
You know what I would have said?
Sam, you have a what?
Yeah, he obviously also he's just a side note. This has nothing to do with but he will not play the first 4 games of 2017 due to failing a drug test. So he's under suspension. So.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Well, I think that figures out why he got the nipple ring. Probably he was high on crack cocaine.
I don't know, but yeah, maybe take that thing out next time when you're in practice.
At what point do you say, "All right, I got my pads on, got my cap"?
Shh.
At what point do you say, "Hey, I've got my pads on"?
Larkin. Sorry.
At what point do you say you've got your pads on? You know, you got your jock strap on. We got everything like we like it. Oh, I might have left the nipple ring on. Might want to take it all off and start over again.
I guess they need to make nipple cups for him.
Oh my gosh, y'all.
So here's to you, Cowboys fan. There's so many jokes you can make. Cowboys are already the butt of all the jokes, you know.
Or the nipple of all the jokes.
Yeah, well, this is the one. You can add this to the list. So.
All right, so that's a little bit of wacky news for us.
Yeah, so stay tuned. We'll have Chris Ferdico from WarFighter Tobacco Company. They make awesome cigars. They're a veteran-owned cigar company out in Nebraska, and they are making news in the cigar aficionado world, so stay tuned.
Words cannot describe how awesome Robert and his team at Webmerized are. In our time of need, Robert came through for us and devoted more time than expected to help our organization develop our new website. It truly is a blessing to have an individual that can speak to the average person not in the IT world in a manner that can easily be understood. The process of working with his team was painless, and I look forward to working with them for future projects. Our website is spectacular, and I'm really proud of what was developed by Webmerized. Thanks. Don't take Stella H's word for it, and also Southern Fried Philosophies, but go out to webmerized.com, WEBMERIZED, or check out the sponsors link on our website. And if you mention the word biggin in your order, you'll get 10% off. Check them out at webmerized.com for your web services needs.
Welcome back to the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast. On our special featured guest line today, we have Chris Ferdico with WarFighter Tobacco Company. WarFighter Tobacco is a veteran-owned and operated cigar company. They bring in have specially manufactured hand-rolled cigars, and they're excellent. We actually received some last week and had a little boys club with some adult beverages and enjoyed our smoke and talk. So welcome to the show, Chris.
Thanks for having me, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. And thank you for your service.
No, thank you guys. It's awkward when people thank us for our service, because at the end of the day, while we appreciate the recognition, there's a part of us that, one, liked it, and two, I don't know, it's humbling. So I appreciate it.
It's a humility thing, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about on your about page on your website. You guys have 4 main guys, I guess, or 3 main guys besides yourself, right?
Yes. Actually, there are 6 of us who own the company. I thought you said 3 million guns, and I was going to say no. You're 6 million guns is about right, but
wow.
Between the 6 of us, no, we are definitely pro Second Amendment. So I gotta throw that.
Oh yeah, we are too.
It started out with as an idea between a friend of mine, Scott, and then it kind of grew as we were too dumb to not change our minds. Things kept going and going, and we added people, and we've got a really, really good team. It's myself and Scott Jansen. Then when we were ready for our sticks, we had Scott and I really, really started, doing the blending and coming up with the product. And then when we were ready for to really, really do it, we went to some friends, and they were fortunate enough to convince their wives to waste some money on us, and we got our first group of banded cigars, and we went live, and then we drew some positive attention, and then Rocco and George Patton joined us, and so the 6 of us. Brian Betty and John Simons are the 2 that came on, willing to lose probably more money than they were than their wives were willing to, at least.
Yeah, there you go.
But that's what happens when you have good friends who will, and with shovels and pickups.
Well, there you go.
So how does that even start? Like, for craft brewing, we can maybe understand. Oh, well, we'll just go pick up a craft brew kit and just goof off in the garage. But you don't do that with cigars. There's no a starter kit for that. So how do you start the whole process of saying, well, let's make something?
Well, that's and like most. I shouldn't say like most, but like a lot of good stories. It started over a lot of alcohol in Vegas.
I'm noticing a trend with that.
Yeah. So, actually, what happened was Scott is a business owner. He owns a company called Silencer Headquarters, which does a lot of custom. It's an NFA Class 3 NFA dealer, and he also does a lot of custom work with Glocks and other firearms. He's a former scout sniper, taught SODIC, which is Special Operations Sniper Long Range Course. And he's really, really good when it comes to shooting people in the face at a mile away.
Well, if there's a talent.
Yeah, that is a talent. And so,
plus in the zombie apocalypse, I guess we're coming to Nebraska.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Exactly. And speaking of, that's kind of where we were at. We were in Vegas at the launch party for the trailer for Range 15, and Scott had supported Range 15. We had supported Range 15, and so we were at the launch party. And if you haven't had the joy of seeing it yet, it's the only veteran produced, veteran funded movie in history.
Oh wow!
Article 15 and Ranger Up got together and decided to make a zombie apocalypse movie that really focused on military culture.
Wow.
So it's very sick and twisted, but in a way that is really nails our community. So we were there, and one of the things that has come out of the post 9/11 veteran community is a spirit of entrepreneurialism. Probably said that like I was drunk, but not.
Quite all right.
Trying to squeeze those words out, we do the same thing.
Yeah. So part of me isn't sure if that's just because of the generation, or if it's just because we get back and realize we don't like people, so we're going to work for ourselves. We were kind of looking in the veteran space and what we could do, because it was something that was really connecting with us. It's hard to come back from war and relate to the real world again. I shouldn't say the real world, because it doesn't get any more real than combat, but it was hard to I'm just going to be honest. It's hard to come back to a place where shooting people is not an acceptable form of dispute resolution. Mm-hmm. And so there's been a lot of support and a lot of community that has come out of the post 9/11 veteran service, and I think because of that, we have really connected with prior veterans as well. It's an incredible thing, the community. But we were sitting there and we were smoking cigars. We realized that almost everybody in the military has smoked a cigar, and you've smoked it in extremely difficult circumstances. Sometimes you smoke it for victory. Sometimes you smoke it in remembrance. Sometimes you're smoking it to let go. It's one of the few vices the Army still lets us engage in. And so... And we realized that none of us could remember what our first cigar was. We can remember exactly that moment we started smoking. We can remember why. We can remember viscerally a lot of the things surrounding those cigars. But 95% of the people you ask to, they can't tell you what they were smoking. And we realized that's because the cigar industry as a whole doesn't understand us. It doesn't understand the veterans. It doesn't understand law enforcement, other sheepdogs, and first responders, and why we smoke. If you go and you look at the cigar industry as a whole, and cigars are certainly a luxury product, but these communities that smoke don't smoke them for the luxury of them. We smoke them for completely different reasons. We smoke them for the camaraderie. And we, when we looked around, we saw a lot of people advertising to us, but nobody speaking to us. And we realized that's because if you're not one of us, you can't understand us. And so we believe that WarFighter Tobacco needed to fill that niche for people who hold an ideal greater than themselves, who have spent life beyond the 6 inches from their face and their electronic device. And for us, it's not about Rolexes and Ferraris, because we don't picture ourselves that way, which is how the cigar industry markets. For us, it's about the experience. And while you can advertise to us, you can't fake it. And so that's why I think we've been successful, as we've, two drunk veterans were able to figure that out. It couldn't have been that hard, because our math skills at that point in time weren't very astute. So. But that's how WarFighter Tobacco started.
Wow. You guys just got named Best in Show at the IPCPR,
That's
right?
correct.
Well done.
That is a very huge honor. And that's kind of where we went. That's the industry show, the International Premium Cigar and Pipe Retailers Association. And it's kind of the SHOT Show for the cigar industry. And last year we went as attendees. We didn't have a booth, and we kind of walked around the place, and I should say Scott walked around the place and kind of confirmed what we were thinking, is that they don't get us. It's a very opulent, a lot of the brands, even on the rough side of the brands that try to advertise to the tough guys. It's all about, apparently if you're in the cigar industry, only rich people are tough guys, because that's who they're marketing to. So I haven't met any of those guys, but
false machismo.
So they're apparently out there, because they market to them a lot. So we realized that we were completely different, and our goal was to eventually get to the show and to turn heads, to be completely different. And we didn't expect it to be so soon, but that's exactly what that award was for us, is validation that, hey, these little guys show up and throw a grenade in the room, and everybody paid attention. And so that was that was huge for us, because again, it validated what we believed the market needed.
Well, mission accomplished, sir.
Yeah, congrats on that.
Thank you.
I was just going to ask, like, what makes your tobacco and your cigars different? So you say the marketing and whatnot, but what makes them different than if I were to go pick up, a Black and Mild?
Jesus.
Okay, well, I was going to say there's
just
a
kidding.
lot of homogeny
Yeah.
in the cigar market, except when you get to the Black and Mild. So
Right.
to dial it back, there are two types of cigars. There's what you call premium cigars, and then which are all handmade. And then you'll have your Black and Mild style, which are machine-made cigars. Machine-made cigars, which can be purchased for
$3 for $99.
pennies, or very large bags of Ziploc bags of sticks for a few dollars.
Right.
Use essentially shredded tobacco inside them, and sometimes the wrapper, which is the outer portion of the cigar. Sometimes that's even paper. It's not even tobacco.
Mm-hmm.
So while they look like a cigar, there's a significant difference between a premium cigar and a machine-made cigar. In the premium cigar, you're talking about a hand-rolled product that is 100% tobacco, and it's got three components to it. You've got your wrapper, you've got your binder, and then you've got your filler. And the filler is just rolled up leaves of tobacco. The binder then wraps that tobacco, and then the wrapper is the prettiest part, which gives it its unique appearance. And depending on the variety of the tobaccos that are used in all three of those parts, and the quality of the tobacco will kind of give it its flavor and its palate. And so what's different about ours are certainly premium and fit the description. Our cigars right now are manufactured in the Dominican Republic. Dominican cigars don't suck.
Right.
I think most of the manufacturers probably have them rolled there too.
Yeah, Honduras, Nicaragua, Honduras are big cigar countries, and in fact, we are moving our manufacturing. We're in the process right now of moving it to Nicaragua. We've had the good-bad problem of, I think, kind of outgrowing our supplier right now, and so we needed to increase our capacity. But what came with the ability to scale up was the ability to get our hands on even higher quality tobacco and even better manufacturing process. I mean, literally people rolling cigars in a big factory. So, because that's how it works. But there's just bigger facility. In fact, we're now being made out of Esteli, Nicaragua, out of the Plasencia factory. And for the cigar geeks out there, they know that Nestor Plasencia knows his way around a tobacco field. So it's so we're honored to have entered the room with the big boys, but completely did it in a non-traditional way.
Nice.
Well, I think with this new economy, I think a lot of these new startups like yourself and better-known clothing companies that you see, they're not with the traditional model. With the internet and with Facebook and social media pumping out shops. It's not going to be that traditional model, brick and mortar, and kind of go from there. Speaking of brick and mortar, are you guys in brick and mortar stores right now?
Well, that's part of what we were doing out at IPCPR. Our community has been so awesome in giving us the response that, frankly, a better response than we were even thinking of. But the one thing about our community is if you're legitimate, you're honorable, and you treat people the way they should be treated, they will reward you with significant loyalty. And I don't know when we decided that we were going to go brick and mortar, but it was one of those things that we knew would be a possibility, but it was so far in the future we really hadn't planned it. But the response that we received from our community was so great that we realized that, we can be successful in brick and mortar, because a lot of us like to, again, it's about the experience and it's about the moment and it's about who you're with. And because they're loyal, they like to find their local veteran-owned place or veteran-friendly place, or and hang out with like-minded people and smoke. And so we were getting a lot of requests for where can I get you locally, and we realized that if we can help cigar retailers who might not understand the veteran. If we can help them better understand the veteran, then they'll have no problem developing a loyal customer base. Another thing that's unique about us is that our demographic is young. Our average customer is about 34 years old. And so in the cigar world, that is like baby. A lot of cigar smokers are older. And so, what we believe we can do is connect traditional smoke shops with the younger market and help them understand that some of us are motorcycles and muscle cars and not Rolexes and Ferraris. And I think that's a good thing for everybody. But we can, so I think we can help drive traffic. And so we've now officially entered the brick and mortar model, and we are signing up dealers. Our new cigars out of the Nicaraguan factory will all be ready here in the next 45 days.
Wow.
They're in the aging room right now, so we should be able to we'll be shipping mid-September to, right now we have about 13 dealers, retailers with maybe 20, 30 stores in various states. Georgia's been good to us.
Nice.
Texas, Arizona's been good to us. So if you're in those areas, you will see us popping up on shelves soon. And if you're out there and you've got a place that you think needs to have us, reach out and tell them about us, and reach out to me and tell me about them, and I'll reach out.
Chris, we've got an amazing following in Tokyo. I know we know that.
Yes. Well, and it's funny. That's the other thing, is that our next step is the amount of love that we're getting from our what I'll refer to as our NATO partners, Canadians, Brits, and Australians, has been outstanding.
Nice.
We get because we can ship to APOs, and we can get cigars to our coalition partners, and they have. We've had some who have bought in large quantity to bring home with them, knowing they wouldn't be able to get them once they got home.
Wow.
So what the next step is to get the warfighters around the world united.
I'm not telling you how to do your job, but have you looked into Amazon Prime? Because that seems to be taking off pretty well.
Amazon Prime is an outstanding service. In fact, I love Amazon because they have prevented me from going to the store and standing in line.
Sure.
Which is apparently a trigger for me. I don't know why that is, but so I love Amazon Prime, but for some reason Amazon Prime and Facebook and Instagram, despite how important they are to us, they don't seem to like guns and tobacco. I don't know what it is.
We need to work on that piece.
Yeah.
Chris, what's your favorite cigar that you've ever smoked? Besides yours.
That I've ever smoked. I would say I'm a really big fan of the Padron anniversary editions.
Nice.
I think they're outstanding. I've had some really good Olivas. I'm a big fan of another small cigar company out there called Battleground. They're a little bit different. I wouldn't consider them a competitor. I like their sense of history. They really focus on the Civil War generation for their cigars, but they make a really nice cigar. The Placentia brands and who has assisted us with our development are outstanding. So, what
about for you? Like of your company, what's one of your favorite cigars there?
Really kind of like music. Cigars for me are what mood I'm in. My Maduro is my angry heavy metal cigar.
Not your Top Gun cigar.
Yep. It is. It is not my danger zone cigar. In fact, I will officially say we don't have a danger zone cigar.
All right.
So
I say I'm not wanted.
If you're, if Kenny Loggins' Danger Zone is your favorite cigar, then we're probably missing you.
Well, and to be fair, we had your cigars, myself, Mojo, and Tim. We had your cigars this past week, and we really enjoyed them. Like, I think one of my favorite things about it is just it's so smooth. Mm-hmm. Like, it was just you didn't feel like you had a cigar after you were done. Like most of the time, like when I got done with it, I was like, like my wife won't kiss me, right?
Yeah.
I'll get that like
ashtray breath.
Go take a shower. But I didn't get that, and I didn't get any hello time. But it was just, she didn't like kick me away and say go in the shower.
No, one of my favorite cigars is a Gurkha, and very clean, and that's what I can relate your cigars to. Is very clean, very flavorful, and I smoked mine down to about a nub, so it was good. It was good to the last nub. So.
I appreciate that. I think from the blend standpoint, we've done well. It's amazing. Just like anything, you think I'm a gun guy, and then I'm in the room with other gun guys, and I realize how much I don't know.
Right.
That's kind of the same thing with cigars. I learn so much about them every day, so it's interesting. I got to say it's a lot more interesting than you would think, but it's been great, and I can absolutely tell you, without the community, we would not be where we are, and to be welcomed by our community that way. And I keep talking about the community, and I should be fair to some of your listeners who may not have military service. What do we mean by a warfighter? So if you don't mind, I'd like to define that for you if I can.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
To us, warfighting isn't an occupation. It's an ideal. It is about being willing to lay it on the line for somebody else, at a moment's notice, sometimes without even thinking about it. And so I think everybody has the potential to have some warfighter in them. But there are certain groups of people, law enforcement, first responders, military veterans, people who have to put it on the line every day. And face their mortality every time they wake up. That creates a sense of community. I tell people I've never had a terminal illness, but I know people who have, and I know that they really, really relate to, others who have been through their circumstance. And so the community for us is everybody who's gotten up and their single focus was survival, whether that was for a moment or for a year. It creates something inside you. That's our community. That's who, we're talking about. And while I would be honored if everybody liked our cigars, at the end of the day, I'm really concerned about what the community thinks about them. And if the community accepts us, then we've been successful. And if others like us, great. But if they don't, we really just don't care, because it's who we are, and we're not going to pretend to be different. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. And in fact, we have what we call a missional family at our house, being big in here, and it's all about community. I think people are just looking to plug in with people that are like-minded, regardless of where they come from, whatever backgrounds they have. They're just looking for people that they can plug into, that they have common interest in. So the warfighter, I definitely could see the community being a big aspect of that, just because there's so many veterans out there, and a lot of these guys have no place to connect with after, like you said, after their service. So little avenues like warfighter, or if it's Second Amendment groups and things like that, I can see these guys plugging into. And by the way, I want to take a second just to say that I know 22 veterans a day commit suicide. So community is a big aspect, and I would like to, if there's anyone out there listening right now as part of that community, seek a community that will help you guys. So
definitely.
And that's what we want. We want people to know that when they pick up a warfighter cigar, even when they're alone, they're not. Because this David Blanco, our blender, is a veteran. His father, Cesar Blanco, who's been in the cigar business for years and years, is a veteran. So that lineage for us was very important, and so we can honestly say from top to bottom that if you're a warfighter and you pick up one of our cigars, it was made by your community. So and that's personally, not to get too sappy or anything, but that's part of the reason I got involved with the Range 15 crew, and because when I was discharged out of the military, it was hard.
Yeah.
And, so I can't imagine how hard it is for guys who really, for the real heroes out there. So it was, it's one of those things that you realize that, hey, if we're going to survive and we're going to heal as a generation, we need to do it together.
Sure.
And that's WarFighter Tobacco is as much a part of that as it is about the cigar. And that's what other cigars companies don't understand. So,
and that's a good point.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
Because like I said, there's a lot of product out there I like. It's funny, I heard Rudy Giuliani recently say that cigar smokers are not monogamous, and there's truth to that. It's been very humbling that we get calls and emails from people who say, "Hey, we had this special moment, and we went and got your cigars," and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that makes sense. We did have an argument though when we were smoking your cigars as a community. Is do we light them with a match or with a lighter? And so that was the argument between us for a solid 5 minutes. So we're coming to ask you.
So I'm gonna throw in a different. I'm gonna throw in even a third choice. If it's a lighter, is it a traditional butane or is it a torch butane lighter? Because you will have cigar geeks argue that point forever and a day.
Sure.
And what I will tell you as a soldier, you light it with whatever the frick you can light it with. If I got a match, I'm starting a fire. So
well done.
We argue one of the reasons that we decided that we had to do the Pelican cases as the humidors is because they serve as flotation devices. So if you're ever out in the middle of the ocean, you can open up your humidor, smoke your last cigar, and kiss your ass goodbye. So that's, it's about practicality.
Sure, of course.
So the answer is yes.
Okay.
Whatever you got.
All right. Speaking of practicality, you're the only tobacco cigar website I know that will sell tobaccos and beard oil at the same time. So that's pretty awesome.
Yes.
Pretty.
Yeah. Well, the Freedom Beard is an important part of our community.
Sure.
So it's we will not. And there is the difference between the hipster beard and the Freedom Beard.
Absolutely.
Usually, you can tell the difference starting at the man bun.
With the Starbucks Frappuccino in the hand. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So that's there are lots of ways to tell the difference, but that's the one of the giveaways. But yes, because I don't know if you noticed this, but our motto is that we sell cigars and other cool shit. And so there's a lot of unique products that WarFighter Tobacco offers. I don't know if you noticed one of my favorites, but the 120 millimeter Abrams ashtray, which was milled out of the spent casing of a Abrams main battle tank.
I did not. I'll have to take a look at that one.
If you want to talk about a conversation piece, throw that bad boy up on your counter.
Sure.
So
no doubt.
So and our 30 millimeter 30 millimeter. What we call our Burt collection, the Burt collection, which is the sound of a Warthog's main gun, the Vulcan 20 millimeter. We've got a whole bar set of flask and shot glasses out of the 30 millimeter spent casings. So,
nice.
Why? Because it's cool.
Right? Why not?
So yeah.
So can you give our listeners your website just in case they don't have it?
Sure, it is warfightertobacco.com. The SEO geeks make sure that if you type Warfighter and Tobacco, we will pop up number one. Nice. So you can't miss us. We're Warfighter Tobacco on Instagram and Facebook as well. Again, the power of the community and the reason we knew we would be able to go into retail was the fact that we went live on the website on August 2nd of last year, and we're pushing 23,000 Facebook followers.
Holy cow!
close to 24,000 on Instagram right now, and that's in 1 year. And
strong work.
That eclipses some of the largest cigar companies out there, and so again.
Wow.
Talk about them not getting it. So
you found your niche. How about that?
Yep.
It's a big niche.
We're we're proud of that, and we're just going to keep growing as long as keep being real.
That's right. Well, Chris, we're going to wrap this up, but once again, people can find you at warfightertobacco.com. You can also look on the Facebooks and also Instagram. You guys on Twitter also?
We are. I will admit, our Twitter game is not as good as
on point.
It's not mine either.
As the president, we are no POTUS when it comes to Twitter.
Yeah, no doubt.
But that's on our goal. To work on that game a little bit, but we are really big in Instagram and Facebook, much to the angst of Instagram and Facebook because they hate everything we're about.
Yeah, sure.
So
you might have to hire one of those man bun bearded guys to run your social media, because those guys know what they're doing, I guess.
It's funny you say that, because the answer is no. Our social media guru is one badass former Marine, so that's all I'm going to say about that.
Nice.
So we are everywhere. And
Chris, we play a little game called 10 and 1. I'm going to ask you 10 questions and see if you can get them in under a minute. Would you be willing to play that game?
Why not?
All right, here we go. All right, what is your favorite board game, Battleship or Risk?
Risk.
What drink do you have in your hand when you smoke a cigar?
Whiskey.
Omaha Steaks or Trump Steaks?
Omaha Steaks.
Jimmy Buffett or Warren Buffett?
Man, we are a Nebraska company.
Yeah, exactly.
Realize that? Go Warren.
Punch or cut?
V-cut.
Oh, wow. This one's a little bit similar. Ponch or John?
With Rocco as my partner, I got to say Ponch.
Okay. Best place you've smoked a cigar?
Over Uday and Kusei's bodies.
Oh, wow. How about it? Cubans, take them or leave them? Talking about the cigars.
Leave 'em.
Okay. If you could have anyone to endorse your cigar, who would it be?
Again, for my friend and partner Rocco, it would be The Rock.
Okay. And last question is, what is your spirit food?
Pizza.
All right.
Good choice.
Well
Because
done.
it's good morning, noon, night.
Fourth meal, fifth meal.
Yeah, it's the perfect food.
Well done. Good job, sir. Appreciate it.
Well, Chris,
Not a problem.
we really appreciate you coming on. Once again, this is Chris from WarFighter Tobacco. You can check him out on the webs. Man, we appreciate you coming on, and hopefully you'll come back on sometime again soon.
So I appreciate you guys reaching out, especially for what you guys are about, and hopefully we connected with some of your listeners.
Absolutely.
So, thank you.
Yeah, man. Guys, we appreciate you always tuning in to each and every episode. Please make sure you go to iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher. Give us a review, subscribe. Also go to any of our social media accounts on Facebook at Southern Fried Philosophy, at Twitter and Instagram at SFP Radio. And you'll also find us on the interwebs at southernfriedphilosophy.com. Big on what you got.
As always, keep looking up.